Today is Sunday, June the 3rd, and I'm in the kitchen today. A few videos back, I had told y'all a story about my second husband's mother and father, and his father was a Baptist minister, and he had spent years and years and years going to seminary, and he did get a theological degree called a Doctor of Divinity. And if y'all remember from that video, I told you that his father, the Doctor of Divinity, called me a slut. He was very nasty, ugly to me. In my opinion, he was not a holy man. He was an evil man. So we're going to talk about him today. And we are going to make divinity. So we're going to start out with 2.5 cups of sugar. I have 1 cup measured here. And then we'll do, see if I can get this going here. But it's a real simple recipe. So that's 2 cups. However, it is a very difficult candy to make. I've only in my lifetime made it twice where it actually turned out to get hard and was fit to eat. So that's my 2.5 cups of sugar. And then it says 1/2 cup of water. I'm just going to add the water in there. And then 1/2 cup of white Karo corn syrup. So let me measure that out. I'm not sure that it will turn out today because it is raining and very humid. And I believe that the weather has a lot to do with candy, especially Divinity, and how it turns out. But we're going to give it a try. Keep our fingers crossed. So we're going to cook this, and it says to cook until thread stage, which is about, on a candy thermometer, it's about 205 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's just mix this up a little bit, and then we'll cook it. I believe the thread stage is like the lowest temperature as far as making cookies. I mean candy. I know chocolate fudge, it's more of a softball stage. I remember when we made that Hershey's fudge out of the Hershey's cocoa. Okay, so I've got this stirred up, blended a little bit, and then I'm going to stay in here with it until it starts to boil. Anyway, it's 2.5 cups sugar, 1/2 cup white Karo syrup, and 1/2 cup water. It says cook until thread stage, which is about, like I said, about 203 to 205 degrees Fahrenheit. And then it called for 2 egg whites and 1 teaspoon vanilla. So I went ahead and beat the egg whites so that y'all wouldn't have to wait for that. And I just dropped in the teaspoon of vanilla. So let's mix that up. Actually, I use 3 egg whites because I buy medium-sized eggs, and whenever I put the 2 egg whites in, it just did not seem to be enough for me. So I went ahead and added 3. You know, most people do buy large and extra large eggs, but I don't know, for some reason I just like the way that the medium-sized eggs taste. So I have my egg whites and the vanilla here, and then after this, the candy gets to the thread stage and it turns into a nice syrup, we're going to add it to the egg whites. So let me just stir it up here a little bit. So this is probably going to be a long video today. I still haven't taken the time to learn how to do the editing. I haven't told y'all this, but I have been volunteering for about a month. Here in Asbury Park, they have a program that's called Interfaith Ministries, and it's supported by the different faiths in the area, the different churches. It is also a United Way agency, and it's a Meals on Wheels program. And they prepare and deliver 2,000 meals every day. So about a month ago, I just decided that, I needed to do something worthwhile for my community and also for myself, just to kind of feed my soul and to make me feel better about myself, to get me up and out of the bed in the mornings and to do something that's active. And so I have been doing this, so it does take quite a bit of my time. I am there from 8 until 12 in the mornings. Of course, it is volunteer, or they don't expect me to be there. So if if I can't make it a couple of mornings, that's okay. Now, last week I did babysit my grandson Issa from Thursday until Monday because he goes to a preschool and it was closed for the Memorial Day holiday. And my daughter could have put him in or taken him to the babysitter, but then that would have cost her another $55 a day. And I told her she doesn't have to twist my arm to come babysit Issa. I love it. So I went up there and I stayed with him. In fact, I made a couple of videos while I was driving to New York. But anyway, Saturday morning I was coming down her stairs. My bedroom is upstairs, and her stairs are the same color as the wooden floor. And for some reason, the light switch, if you turn it on downstairs, then you have to turn it off upstairs when you get up there. But Jill had come back downstairs and turned it off downstairs, so it's some weird contraption. It would take a rocket scientist to figure it out. But anyway, when I went to come downstairs Saturday morning, the light wouldn't come on. So I got to the bottom step and missed it and just fell flat on my left side. I mean, it hurt so bad. And I did scrape my elbow pretty bad right there. Jill, the stairway ends at the front door, and Jill has a little rug there, and I slid across the rug and got a rug burn, but I really injured my left side and my leg. I'm black and blue. But thank the good Lord, nothing broke. It could have been a whole lot worse. Okay, so I have my candy mixture boiling right here. So I'm going to turn it down real low. And I'm going to try not to stir it. And then let's put the candy thermometer in. Oops. And like I said, it has to get up to about just a little over 200 degrees there. So we'll come back in a minute and check on it. Okay, y'all come into the living room with me. Let me get my water. I have a new cup, and it keeps my ice from melting. I go all day long, and I still have ice in here. It says Acute Care Experts Incorporated. This is an infusion nursing agency, and my daughter does do a little part-time work for them. Although she was the manager of the New York office for 5 years until she decided to look for another job with Winthrop Healthcare Systems. She's still doing in-home nursing care, but it's not a managerial position now, and it's a lot easier on her and a lot less stress. So y'all just bear with me a minute. I've got to get my tripod fixed. Because when I have y'all in the kitchen with me, I have to put my tripod in the sink. So here we go. Let's see if this will work. So today I just wanted to tell y'all a few more little stories about John's mother and father and the doctor of Divinity, and some more little things that they did to me that I considered cruel and intentional that they did to me to try to hurt me. It's like I told you in the first video that they were mad at me because they felt like that I was the cause of John's marriage to his first wife breaking up. But of course I was not. Y'all can go back and look at some of those earlier videos and I explain it a little bit better. But anyway, when we were, starting our marriage out and everything, his mother and father did come to eat Christmas dinner with us. And this was in 1974. And here's a picture of John and Jason. And I had cooked a big ham. I had my pineapple on it and everything. And we were living at the house there on Dunbar Avenue at Cedar Point in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. So, we had invited his parents over for Christmas dinner. And his mother told me that she would be bringing the vegetables. So I went ahead and cooked everything. I made the potato salad and baked the ham, and I made sweet potatoes, the sweet potato yams and everything. So I'm thinking, okay, they're going to come at 1 o'clock, so we'll be ready to eat because she's bringing the vegetables. So they get to the house, and she brings in these 2 bags of frozen solid field peas right out of the freezer. I thought she meant she was going to cook the vegetables and bring them. So then I had to go in the kitchen and put the peas and, get out some bacon and fat back and everything and saute it and saute the onions. And then we had to wait for field peas to cook. And they don't cook quick, like you can just put peas in the microwave today. So that delayed our Christmas dinner by a couple of hours. And I know she did it on purpose. She was always just conniving and trying to figure out ways to aggravate me. And she did a good job of it. So then in Easter of 1976, John's father was the Baptist minister at a church in a town in Mississippi called Bogachita, Mississippi. And here's a picture of that's his father right here. He had on a real, like an eggshell white suit, and that's his mother in a pink dress, and that's John, and that's Jason, and it says Bogachita Baptist Church, and that's the church where he was preaching at that time. He did move from one church to another, and especially when John and his brothers and his sisters were growing up, his father moved them around a lot. And John and his family, they lived in these church parsonages, and most of the time they were not, that well kept places. And John did tell me that one time, one of the parsonages that they lived in, that the roof was so bad and there were so many shingles on it that when it snowed, snow actually came in through the ceiling and got onto their bed at night. But his father didn't care. All he cared about was getting that divinity degree and how he could impress the congregation. He was always spending money on brand new cars, and he always wore these real nice hand-tailored suits. But that same day at the church, here's a picture of Jason. He's sitting up there. I believe that's the baptismal there behind him. And then we were out hiding Easter eggs. That's Jason and John there. You can't see it in this picture, but wherever there's a church and a parsonage, there's a cemetery. So John had to grow up living with his neighbors being the cemetery. And here's another picture of Jason with his little Easter basket. Also, here's a 8x10 of me and Jason. And I don't have the date on here, but he looks to be about 2 years old. And this is just a picture of Jason and Glenda Merle. Must have been taken in the winter because Jason's shirt has a little snowman on it. Now that little blue polka dot suit, I made it with my old Singer sewing machine. So let's go back in the kitchen and check on that candy and see how it's coming along. I don't want to overcook it. Okay. So here it is. Ooh, it's way past that stage. I wonder if that's right, because it sure didn't seem to cook long enough. 203 degrees. Let's see if it makes a thread. Supposed to be able to pick it up between your fingers, but I don't want to burn my fingers. And see if it makes a thread. Yep, it does. So let's take it out and okay, let's see. It says add syrup mixture to egg whites, beat, and then add the pecans and pour it into a dish. Okay. Y'all, this is like it's turning out to be a big catastrophe. I'm having a lot of trouble with my phone. So I'm just gonna I have to put some butter in this dish because I didn't do it yet. Now you can when this candy starts getting hard, you can just take a spoon and dip it out and then just kind of drop it on the dish. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pour it into this dish, and I just kind of hope and pray that it turns out okay and that I didn't overcook it. Okay, add syrup to egg whites, beat, and then add the pecans. So I know you can't see it, but just bear with me. Well, it's really hot, so I'm just going to turn the mixer up and try to get this beat. Just hope and pray it gets hard. Add the thyme. I'm going to pause it for a minute.